Hello everyone, welcome back to database project series. So we are done with the home page, we are done with the login page, and we are done with the children details page. Next we need to register or modify or deregister a child, but to do that we need to have our database ready and running. So in this video we will be developing our backend part, that is our database. We'll set up a database with all the required tables and then we'll continue with the project. So let's begin by opening MySQL workbench. Let me close this. So this is our workbench and we have our local server ready. Let's open it. Okay, now we have our working area ready. In case you find an error which says no connection established or no connection found, in that case you need to open the services app and then turn on MySQL manually. I have covered that part in the installation video of MySQL. You can check it out in that video. Now let's set up our database. Well, I have already set up my database, but let me show you how to set up a new database if you are doing it for the first time. First, we need to go to database or just click on this button which says create a new schema in the connected server. We'll be creating a new schema and then you can give any name to the schema which will represent your database. So I'll give it as kindergarten 2 because I already have one kindergarten running, so I'll name this as kindergarten 2 and click on apply. There you go, the code will be auto generated in this, so you can see the code create schema kindergarten 2. Click on apply and click finish. Close this. Now you can check the databases that are present in our local database. You can do that by typing the code show databases and run. Now you can see these are the databases present in our local server. Kindergarten was the default one which I had already run before. This is the new one we created right now. So we need to make changes to this database. So to get into that database, type use kindergarten 2 and run. There you can see use kindergarten. So now we are in the kindergarten 2 database. I already have the queries ready. I will drop a link in description. You can use that to just copy paste so that you do not have to type the whole thing. Let me walk you through all the SQL statements that I have used to create my tables. First, we have the admission table. This will store the details of the admission number, that is each child will have an admission number, so that will be stored in admit number, and the date of admission, and along with the kindergarten level, whether the child belongs to the lower kindergarten or the upper kindergarten. Then I have set the admin number as the primary key. Next, I have created the child table. This will store the details of all the children. First, I have the CID, that is the unique ID given to each child, and I have set that as primary key, and it will auto increment, that is I have set the default number as 100. You can see here auto table auto increment, so the default will be 100, and each time a child is added, the CID will be auto generated and it will be incremented by 1, so it will be like 100, 101, 102 and so on. And then we have the CNAME to store the child name, and then we have the CDOB, that is the date of birth of each child, and then the admission number, which is the foreign key. You can see here we had used the admission number, so it will be a foreign key in this table. And then we have the C address, that is the address of the child. As you can see, references admission number, that is the foreign key. Next we have the teacher table. Similarly, like child table, we will create a teacher table to store the details of the teacher, because we will be adding, modifying and deleting teacher details also. So we have the TID to store the unique ID for each teacher, and that is the primary key of this table, and this is also auto increment similarly to the child ID. Next we have the T name to store the teacher name, then we store the T phone number, and then we have the T address. Next we have the subject table. This is just for reference, you can create this or you can just let it go, it's just optional. This will store the subject names and the subject code, so that it's just to display the subjects and along with the subject code that the child will be taking up. And then we have the timetable. This table is also optional, it's just for displaying. If you want to show it, you can do it. If you don't want to make it complex, you can just leave it out. I have used all this just to make sure we have a good number of tables, because in few projects it's mandatory to have around 5 tables, so I have created 5 tables. Next we have the controlled by table. This is again optional, this is not much required, I have not used it also. It's just for optional. If you want to have more tables in your database, you can make use of this data, you can make use of these tables. And then the teachers table. So now let's create all these tables in our present database, that is kindergarten 2. I'll copy this and paste it here and click on run. You also can do the same. I have dropped the link in description for a text file. It contains all these SQL codes. All you need to do is just copy paste and then run. You can see all the actions in below. So I guess all the tables are created. You can see the tables created, individual tables created, create table, teachers. So to check if the tables are created, let's open a new query file and then let's run a code to check the tables present in our current database. To do that, type show tables and run. Okay, now you can see all the tables present in our current database. We have the admission table, child table, controlled by table, sub table, that is for the subjects, teacher, teachers and timetable. So now we have our database ready. You can add the values right here, or you can use our Java to add the data to the database. So now that we have a backend ready, let's move on to our front end and create the design for adding new child, deleting, as well as to modify the existing details of children. So we have our backend ready now, so let's save this. Okay, it's auto saved, so I'll close it. So this is the backend part of our project. We have our server ready, we have our database ready. So in the next video we will be designing our front end, that is our project in Java to add, that is to register, deregister or modify the child details. See you in the next one.